Hey, it's your girl. Welcome to another episode of Thursday Thoughts. I'm super excited to be here with y'all today. And as always, guess what? We get ready to kick it off with what am I thankful for on this Thursday? And this Thursday, I'm going to tell you, I'm so thankful for growth. Growth. And when I say growth, I mean, the growth that I've made over the years, I can see the transitions that I made from my 20s to my 30s and my 30s to my 40s and now in the, double nickel phase of life, right? And I'm just so thankful that I was able to learn from the lessons. And learning from the lessons have given me blessings. So, when we go through these things in life, we definitely can come out on the other side much, much better, much stronger um, than we did when we started the journey. So let's see who's joining us tonight. We have Stacy. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Godwin. What's going on? What's going on? Thanks for joining. Tonight, you all, what are you thankful for? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. For those of you who may be in the Midwest, everywhere else it may feel like spring, but in the Midwest, y'all, it's a little chilly. It's a little chilly. We're getting there. We're getting there, but it is a little chilly. So I'm super excited. Hey, Stacy. So we got to get Stacy to come back on with us. And tonight, y'all, while you are putting in the comments what you're thankful for, tonight we are talking about forgiveness. We're talking about forgiveness and the power that comes with forgiveness and being able to heal yourself and move forward. And that is so, it sounds to some people, it can sound so simple, almost too simple to be real. But forgiveness can be a difficult thing depending on what you have to forgive somebody for, right? That part of it. But it's so necessary. And you know that saying, they say, what's that saying? Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. I can tell you forgiveness is so, so freeing. Because I used to be the type of person that if you hurt me or betrayed me, I was like done forever, forever, and could hold a grudge. When I was younger, I could hold a grudge. Whoo, man. But that's not forgiveness. And that's not healthy. Because when we're not forgiving, we're holding on, we're anchoring in that moment, we're anchoring to that person, and we're keeping ourselves attached to that person, right? So let's see in the comments what y'all thankful for. Yeah, I got to get to writing y'all what y'all thankful for in the comments. Thankful for a sound mind. It's been a busy week. That's what Stacy said. All right, Stace, I got you. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine, right? So as we go through understanding forgiveness and what it is, what it isn't, we're just going to move through some things. And if you see me look down, y'all know I got my notes. I got my notes because I don't want to lose track. But you know, forgiveness is such a healing process. It's not excusing somebody's behavior. That's not forgiveness, right? It's really acknowledging that, this thing happened and being willing to acknowledge your emotions around that thing, but then letting it go, letting it move on, saying, you know what, if it was somebody mistreating you, saying, you know what, you mistreated me. And I'm going to let that go. I'm going to forgive you and I'm going to let it go. Now, when you forgive somebody, it doesn't mean you have to keep dealing with them. Know that. Know that's not what forgiveness means. Because some people you can forgive, and if they're trying to do better and they're like, okay, I want to do better, that's one thing. But then some people do things and they set up a precedence and you're like, you know what? I'm just done. It's okay to be done. But when even in that, it needs to be forgiveness so you can release that emotion that is attached to whatever that thing was. So again, forgiveness is not about condoning the bad behavior, the thing that was done, right? But it's letting yourself be free again of the chains that will anchor you to that moment in time. It is so crazy. But if you think about a time somebody had made you angry or really upset you, right? You could think about that thing and you can get upset all over again. How many of y'all can do that? I know I can do that. I could do that. If you think about something, you like, and you, if you think about it long enough, you're like, what? Man, right? So you want to be able to forgive and then get to a point where now I can think about certain things that happened that was even painful and hurtful. But guess what? It no longer emotes that emotion in me, doesn't get that reaction from me. It doesn't cause me to feel a certain way because I've moved through it. I've forgiven. I've let go. And when you can't let go, you hold yourself hostage, right? And so I want to ask you all tonight, have you ever experienced a moment when forgiving someone else brought you peace? Feel free to share. If you have, you can just put yes, but feel free to share. Have you ever experienced a moment when you said, you know what, I'm going to forgive, and it brought you peace? I know for me, being able to forgive people and no longer hold the thing that happened against them per se, but really truly forgiving them, it makes me feel better. It made me feel like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Because again, when you harbor ill feelings towards somebody, it honestly is weighing you down. It's a weight on your shoulders. You'll feel it. And when you release it, your shoulders will drop a little lower because you're not going to have that weight on you. And that's a beautiful thing, y'all. A beautiful thing. So now the other thing I want to talk about are, well, what are some symptoms that let you know what, maybe I need to forgive somebody, right? And so some symptoms can be, again, if you find that somebody is like super irritating to you and you can't figure out like why all of a sudden this person is just kind of maybe irritated to you, you find yourself angry for long periods of time, or you may find that you're sad for long periods of time. You may have trouble connecting with other people, trouble in holding relationships or building relationships or friendships. That could mean that you're harboring some type of unforgiveness for somebody else that's preventing you from freely opening yourself up to new experiences and new people. And so that can very well happen. And you may think, you know what? I've moved past it. But if you find like you think you've moved past something, but if you're finding, you know what, it's harder for me to make friends, or it's harder for me to have a relationship or get in a relationship, or maybe I'm getting in a relationship with the wrong types of folks, it could be because there is some forgiveness that needs to occur. And until you can actually exemplify and really forgive, and you hold yourself hostage, there's going to be a piece of you that is going to be sending out vibrations of negativity that's going to either push people away or pull the wrong people to you. You become a magnet. You become a magnet to what you're feeling on the inside. But if you're not checking yourself to see what's really going on with you, sitting with self, examining self, guess what? You're not going to know. You're not going to know. And if you don't know, you're not going to be able to resolve what's going on with you on the inside. I mean, how many of you know, or you said, oh, you're too busy to sit still and meditate? Sometimes that's me. You're too busy to sit still. Or if somebody hurts your feelings, sometimes you'll just, instead of like addressing it with the person, you'll just say, you know what, I'm just going to move on from it. But when you move on from it and you haven't addressed it, then when you see that person, you kind of like, ugh, I don't really want to deal with that person. But you haven't really addressed what happened. And a lot of times that can happen when we're not really being honest with ourselves and with others on how we're feeling and know that your feelings matter. But you have to let people know. And when you can share, you know what? I didn't like that. So you're vocalizing, what you're feeling, what you don't like, and you're giving that person an opportunity to correct their actions or at least acknowledge and understand this is how you're feeling. And when you give voice and sound to how you feel, it helps move it through your body and helps you to release it. But when you don't acknowledge how you feel, it's like we hold on to it. And when we hold on to it and we don't acknowledge it, it just spreads. And that seed of pain, that seed of sadness, that seed of depression, or that seed of rejection, it will get planted and it get rooted. Those roots will grow deep. And it will flourish into things, and you're like, I don't know why I don't have any friends or any good friends, or why are all my friends, people around me, always just, with the hand out, or only want to be around when they need something, or I'm always supporting others, but they're not supporting me, right? Then we have to do some self-reflection. So I want to know from you all today, what are some signs that you've noticed in your life that may indicate it's time for you to let go of something or to forgive? Time to let go of something or to forgive. What are some signs that you may have seen? Or have you even experienced that? Have you experienced that? Hey, Felicia. Hey, Christina. Thanks for joining, y'all. So today, we're talking about the power of forgiveness, healing yourself and moving forward. And you know what the crazy thing is? And I was talking to someone about this earlier. The crazy thing is, it sounds really crazy, but sometimes we're so comfortable with pain that we hold on to it because it's so familiar. And it's sad, but it's true. Because for a long time, I was so comfortable with pain, I would hold on to it. And not forgiving holds on to it. And it was so familiar. And so my pain that I was holding on to was, guess what? It was becoming a magnet and attracting other people who was on that same vibration. And they just added to my pain. And once I began to look inward and start to work on myself, that's when I was able to peel back those layers and really dig in to find out, why am I acting the way I am? Why do I attract the people I attract? Why do I feel the way I feel? When you start asking yourself these questions, sit with yourself, give yourself the attention that you deserve, and ask yourself why. When was the first time I felt this way? What was a catalyst for that, right? Get to the root cause. It's springtime, y'all. It's time to do some spring cleaning with self. And the first thing we need to do is start doing some inventory to find out, am I holding on to anything that I should let go of? I mean, I'm in the process of going through my wardrobe as we speak. And so I'm trying to let go of some stuff. It's difficult for my friends who know me. It's difficult, but I'm learn to let go of some stuff. Because when you let go of stuff that you really don't need, that's not serving you, it makes room for all the blessings that God has in store for you. But he can't give it to you because guess what? You holding on to something that don't even serve you. How about that? How many of us are holding on to something that is not serving us? How many of us are holding on to maybe bad habits that are not serving us, right? Not exercising, but when you try to make it up, spring cleaning, you like that, Stacy? Spring cleaning. Yes, spring cleanup stuff. We have to. We have to, because That's the foundation of why I do what I do, because it's so important that we prioritize ourselves, and we have to clean ourselves up. But that means we have to spend time with ourselves, right? And sometimes some of us can be uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable with totally being alone with self, think about that. Comment, are you uncomfortable with being alone with self? Felicia says it's time to let go of the situation or person when it's stunning your personal growth. Absolutely. 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 And I'm a firm believer that God will move you if you're not moving yourself. So if you're praying for something, and if your current situation is not fertilizing your dreams, your goals, your desires that you've been praying for, God will begin to move things for you. And when he moves things, you're not going to like it because it's not going to feel good, because guess what? You weren't ready for it. You weren't ready for it. But your prayers was ready for it. So God will help you, because he'll begin to move things that will force you to do what you needed to do the whole time. But we're talking about forgiveness, and we're talking about healing oneself. And when you forgive, it's not just you forgiving others, but how about forgiving yourself? How many of you out there, and you don't even have to comment in the comments, but there are some things in your past and you are still beating yourself up. God has forgave you, has released it, and you are still beating yourself up over it, holding yourself hostage. You have to forgive yourself, because when you know better, you do better. So set yourself free today, tonight. Free yourself. Write down a list of all the things that make you feel bad, that make you feel sad. Write them down. See what things on that list you can let go of. The woulda, coulda, shouldas. How many can relate to woulda, coulda, shouldas? I said this earlier to somebody today, and I still catch myself with this. I wish I had known what I know now back then. Man, wouldn't I rewrite history? How many of y'all can relate to that? But the key is you can recognize your growth, but learn to let it go. Really let it go, so you can move forward, so you can free yourself, right? So now, as we talk about, freeing ourselves, I think it's important. And I think this is a really good exercise. This is an exercise I actually do with some of my clients. And is write a forgiveness letter to yourself. To yourself. Because nobody can let you down like you let yourself down. The thing of that is we rarely verbalize and acknowledge when we've let ourselves down. We'll acknowledge when other people maybe let us down, but we'll rarely look at self and hold ourselves accountable for letting ourselves down. Hey, Guinevere, thanks for joining. So how many of you can relate to that? That was probably that was a catalyst for me at the beginning of the year, for me to really kick up my fitness goals and to really get myself together from an overall health perspective, mental wellness and health perspective. Was I would keep, in 2023, I would say, okay, I would start and stop and work out if I felt like it, eat okay if I felt like it, but that I was not committed to it. And y'all, it showed, because sis was spreading like mayonnaise. You understand me? I was getting wider and wider. And then I just sat down and just talked to myself. Sometimes you have to talk to yourself. You can look at yourself in the mirror and have a full-on conversation. That's not crazy, because you need to talk to yourself. Oftentimes we ignore ourselves, right? So I talked to myself and I said, girl, if you want your life to be different, you have to start doing things differently. I didn't fuss, but I held myself accountable. And in holding yourself accountable, that doesn't mean that you're not forgiving yourself, but that means you're holding yourself to a commitment to you. And so I committed myself, and I'm down, gosh, I want to say since January, I'm probably down 10 pounds. Probably down 10 pounds. And I'm gonna keep going. It's not like I want to lose much in a weight factor, but I want the inches to come off, where they need to come off. So, hey, Tiffany, thanks for joining. Tonight, we are talking about, the power of forgiveness and healing yourself and moving forward. So, Gwen says, love it. Self positive talk is so good. It is good, y'all. And we really have to practice that more, because the person inside of us, the person that we've ignored because we're so busy doing stuff, that the conscious part of ourselves, there's another part of ourselves that lies within our unconscious. And we have to make sure we're speaking life into that person. And I tell you how you know it's true. Have you ever been in your car or just at home, and one of your favorite happy jams come on, right? Your happy jam. Like happy jam. Like one of my happy jams is Like a Girl by Lizzo. That's one of my happy jams. If I'm working out, I got on Like a Girl like Lizzo. And baby, right before it comes on, I may have been like, might have been a little bit of a funk, might be a little stressed out. But as soon as that music comes on, it evokes an emotion, a feeling. I feel better. I feel upbeat, right? You can just get into a whole vibe. Likewise, if you listen to, it could be a sad love song, and that song could be tied to a memory from long ago, and it can evoke an emotion in you that lets you know, oh my gosh, I remember that. Like I remember that hurt. I remember this. And so to make sure we're dealing with our emotions, to make sure we're dealing with forgiveness and healing ourselves, we need to spend time with ourselves. We need to spend time really looking into ourselves and really examining our behaviors and questioning, why am I reacting to certain things? For me, you know, um, I was very, very, very sensitive. I wanted to be liked by everybody. I just felt when I was younger, I wanted to be liked by everybody. But that was something that I was carrying with me from abandonment issues from my father. I carried that over. And until you start really sitting with yourself, doing self examinations, whether it means you need a coach, whether you need a therapist, you need somebody that can help you look inward to help you see where your blind spots are, because they're called blind spots for a reason. And so, I just want to leave you all today, this evening, with knowing that when you take the time to invest in healing yourself and improving yourself as a person, not only will you be happy and freer, you're going to be more confident. You're going to excel at work. People who show up as their most authentic and whole, healthy, complete self, right? Because you got some broken folks that show up as they self. They're not quite whole and healthy, but they showing up as their authentic self. So I like to preface your authentic, healthy self, right? Right? The most healthiest, the most complete aware, because when you're aware of self, you can know how to manage and navigate self. And that's so critical. And it makes forgiving others so easy, y'all. Because sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes somebody do something and I say, you know what, that right there was a whole fool. A whole fool. But I can also acknowledge that was a whole fool. But by the same token, I can say, you know what? That's who that person is. And I can let it go. I don't have to hold on to an angry emotion being tied to that thing. I can let it go and know that's just who that person is. And for those of you who know the four agreements by Miguel Ruiz, Don Miguel Ruiz, one of them is don't take things personally. And I'm telling you, when that thing clicked with me, it made navigating in relationships, whether it's personal or professional, easy. Easy. Because you now know that how other people interact with you is not personal to your value of who you are. And oftentimes, for me, I don't know how many of you, but for me, I would place my value, I would equate my value and measure my value based off how somebody else was interacting with me or their opinion of me. And that's no longer the case. And that's a good place to be in. So I want to leave you all with write a letter of forgiveness to yourself because you're worth it. You are worth it. Oh, okay. Yes, Tiffany, reread that book. It is, when I tell you that is a powerful book, it's a powerful book. Those 4 agreements, and one of them is be impeccable with your words. I try to communicate to say exactly what I mean because I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm trying to say. I want to be very, very, very clear with what I mean. The other one is, not to take things personal. Then they have one is always do your best. And then another one was don't make assumptions. Man, if you all don't have that book, go get the book. The next thing I want to tell you all, is to think about one step you can take today when we leave here to forgive yourself or someone around you, or to let something go that hasn't served you. Think about that. The other thing I want you to do is to realize, again, I've stressed this through today's talk, is that forgiveness is freeing. Free yourself because you're worth it. I recommend that you incorporate some mindfulness, incorporate positive self-talk. Again, y'all, it's not crazy. It's healthy. Say good stuff to yourself. You don't mind telling yourself when you mess up, like, dang, that was so dumb of me. Oh man, I messed up. Say good stuff to yourself. Speak life into yourself. Speak life into yourself because what you say is powerful when you're talking to you. Because there's so much stuff out there that's talking to us and feeding our subconscious. For example, I know myself that if I watch too many police stories, seriously, if I watch too many police stories, I notice I'm a lot heavier. I'm more weighted down. I can feel a shift in how I feel, how I move. I'm drained because there's so much sadness in police dramas. There's typically death or bad stuff happening, a lot of negative stuff that goes on. But I also know if I were to watch comedies, things that are lighter, where there's a hero, y'all know I love me some Marvel, I feel more optimistic. I feel uplifted. So be careful with what you're feeding yourself because what you're feeding yourself will always shift your move and how you move through the world. Now, the next thing I want you to do is do some mindfulness. Get yourself some supportive people around you that can help you and encourage you in your journey of forgiveness and forgiving self. And then when it comes to moving forward, I want you to know that when you forgive and when you let go of pain from the past, man, it opens up doors. It gives you something to look forward to. And all the time, you're not going to know, right? When one door closes, that door that closes, it could be so fearful, so scary, y'all, when that door closed. But you have to trust and know, you know what, when that door closed, I'm going to expect the next door is going to be just for me. And it's going to be fabulous. It's going to have every opportunity that I want. Because when you start thinking positive thoughts and you start saying positive things, you're going to start doing positive things. It's going to make your actions more positive and how you navigate and how you move in the world. So keep that in mind. And lastly, I want to say, if you all think about it, have forgiving somebody changed your outlook on life or relationships? If you've ever had to give somebody forgiveness, think about that. Before we wrap up, I want to share some books because I always like to give some books that are really good. So we're talking about forgiveness. So as I look at my notes, one book is called The Book of Forgiving, The Fourfold Path for Healing Ourselves and Our World by Desmond Tutu and Info Tutu. So this was a highly rated book. You can find all the books I'm going to give you right on Amazon. You can get them on your Kindle or Audible. The next book is The Book of Joy, Lasting Happiness in a Changing World. And this one is by Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. This is a good one. And this one, this is very highly rated as well. The next book, the third book I want to share with you is Forgiving What You Can't Forget. They have a book and they have a study guide. And it says, discover how to move on and make peace with painful memories and create a life that is beautiful again. And again, our thoughts, our mindset is key. So we have to be deliberate with that, right? Our mind, our thoughts, this is all soil. You got to take care of it. Just like you take care of your grass. I mean, hopefully y'all out there taking care of y'all lawns. We're getting in spring. So, you have to fertilize it. You have to water it, give it nutrition, right? Same thing. The next book I want to share with you all, I think this is the last book on my list. It's The Art of Letting Go. How to let go of the past and move. It says how to let go of the past. Oh, and look forward to the future. And finally enjoy emotional freedom you deserve. Now, this one is a paperback and it's by Damon Zaharias, and it's Zahariades. But those are 4 books all about forgiveness. And, that's what I want for all of us. So with that said, I am again thankful for this Thursday Thoughts. Thank you all for joining me. Look at y'all. I appreciate you. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I've had a blast. Have a good night, y'all. Stay blessed.